Hello there, everybody. Ricky T here, Dr. Ricky T. I'm going to go live on Instagram. Give me 1 second, a little technology moment here. I go over to Instagram and I go live there. And now I'm live in both, actually on multiple platforms, Facebook and StreamYard in various groups. So that is the remarkable thing of our world these days, is the technology that can have us be in many places at the same time. So happy Wednesday, everybody. It is Wednesday, September 18th at approximately 8:29 a.m. on the Pacific coast of the US of A. So many thoughts this morning. I did want to start this morning. Well, first of all, just a logistical thing. If you are catching this live, you're welcome to put a comment in the chat. If you're on Facebook, if you put a comment in Instagram, I have an amazing co-creator of this work in the world, Jocelyn Flowers, who helps put comments from Instagram that I can see them inside this technology. So just to be aware of that, you're welcome to comment or ask a question. We could have this be interactive a bit if you're watching live. So I'm very cash this morning, just came in from a morning walk. I caught a little bit of the news this morning, and I would be remiss if I didn't have a moment to say, boy, do we need to slow it all down, calm it all down, and do whatever it is individually, collectively, spiritually, energetically, prayerly, whatever form that you believe serves and works, is to bring more peace to our world, right? I'm not going to go down the big news story, but some certainly challenging things going on in the Middle East, as well as in our own backyard of the. We all know, right? I don't want to turn this. It's not a political comment. It is a spiritual moment to say, what does it mean for me to lower my own, to raise my vibration, if you will, to raise the conversation even with neighbors and friends and family, to all get aligned on, how do we lower this fear and all this sort of stuff that we're all experiencing, right? There's many of you, if you follow me or you're in my world, and I'm following lots of people, there's many people who are doing their inner work about this. Because one of the things that I have learned, whether you subscribe to this or not, is if I'm warring inside of me, I keep generating a war that goes outside of me, right? So my inner war of myself is the judgment of self, and I vote at myself, and I'm mean to myself, and I'm hello, Jacqueline. Anything that's going on inside of me, I will somehow generate or start to foster outside of me. So that's how the concept of my inner life is creating my outer life, right? And many of you understand that concept. So I wanted to start there this morning for some brief moments of slowing it down, having a peace-filled moment. And I even invite you for a few moments here to just take a big, deep breath. If you're listening to me live, or you're even watching later in the day, or watching a week from now, who knows, right? Just invite you to just take a big, deep breath. And that leads me into my morning walk meditation. I go for a walk every morning, and I kind of call it my morning walk meditation. It's not like a deep meditation, but I'm walking and thinking and contemplating and reflecting. It's more like a reflective walk, right? And one of the things that I was reminded of this morning on my walk is the art, and dare I say the science, but the art and the intentionality of wanting for, right? Pretty simple, 2 words, right? Wanting for. And I think this is I've not done studies on this. I've not researched this, but as I be in my world and as I support coaches and I support practitioners and people who are in the transformational space, that the essence of who we be is we're always wanting better for, right? Fill in the blank. You want better for, if you're a consultant for companies, I'm by the way, doing a gig for a company in about 10 days. I want the team to be better, right? Because that's what they want. I want my clients to feel more engaged and creative and successful, whatever that means for them. So the art of wanting for, and I think we tend to use it in our work lives a lot. And I was just reminded this morning of, and let me get really specific. As I go for a morning walk, I think about our clients. I think about the 26 people that I work with, right? And we have a technology we use where I can talk to them every single day in a video, and I will actually have a want for many of them. I don't necessarily do every 26 every single day, but I'll get an intuitive hit and I'll make a video for them very quickly in the morning. I usually have one for the entire group as well. But why I'm telling you this is, when I cannot experience fear and worry and anxiety at the same time that I'm in the state of wanting more, or not wanting more, wanting for. I want to make sure I use the right language. Wanting for. And this very simple concept you can apply to your family. You can apply this to your clients. You can apply this to your marriage. You can apply this to yourself. Right. And it's a very interesting sentence to fill in daily. And I think it's a daily practice. This is why I love working with people one-on-one and in a group, right. Because I mostly on my good days, I'm in a state of wanting for. I'm wanting for my clients. I'm wanting for, my husband. What do I want for them? Now they have answers themselves. As a good coach, you ask people, what do you want? And they answer, their answers. But imagine from an energetic or a meta context, or a bigger context, is, wanting peace for the world. That's, I opened to this morning talking about that. I want for our world, right? Now that's the biggest context, right? And of course, my brain can go to, how does that happen, and what do I need to do? And well, I do my part as best I can, and I will send money to things that I think are good causes. And we all have a way to participate in this wanting for. And I want to make this pretty clear distinction, because I caught myself saying it a moment ago. Not wanting more, just wanting for. What do you want for? And fill in the blank. People, clients, and I think it's a fascinating way to be. And it feels obvious. I know I'm probably singing or preaching to the choir here, but the idea that when we wake up, I sort of wake up into the logistics of my life, right? There's the morning, and then the emails, and then there's the news, and I have to step back and go, okay, what do I want for? And fill in the blank. And there's always an answer. There's always an answer, right? And sometimes it's very detaily, like specifics, like a real, like I want for this is a weird one, but my husband Chuck uses an iPad and it's not working well, and I want for him that he, this iPad is either fixed or we get an iPad so he gets to enjoy his iPad, because this, that's a very specific want for, right? And then of course, what's my part in that, and how can I help? And and then there's also the qualities of life that we want for people, and that's generally where we go. What are the qualities you want for people? And so, this is not, this doesn't need a 4-hour talk. This is a simple idea this morning for you to consider and to drop into a moment. Think about your people, think about your clients, think about your families, think about your clients, think about if you're a corporate trainer or you're an author. What do you want for people? And I think it's such a great question. I just said author. I'm reading about 5 different books right now that are in the spiritual space, leadership space, personal growth space. That's my obsession. And when I read a book, if you go behind the curtain of it, really what it is it's a person deciding and making a decision on what do they want for people, and then how do I get there, right? Or give me the context, and then of course give me the stories, give me the motivation, enlighten me, grow me, point me, and that's what a good book does, right? I've been recently rereading Big Magic. I'm doing I've been asked to be a like a book club facilitator, and the first book we're going to do is Big Magic, right? Which is Elizabeth Gilbert. And, she wrote Eat, Pray, Love. Some of you know the book, some of the movie, the blah, blah, blah. That was the big splash of Elizabeth Gilbert's life. And then she wrote Big Magic, which was also another big splash, but it was much more, it wasn't a personal storytelling book. It was mostly a philosophical book. And what she wants for people, and I'm going to link that to the want for, what she wants for people is to understand, and this is her bringing alive a concept, whether you subscribe to it or not, right? That's the interesting thing. We read something and we subscribe to it. We go, that's such an interesting idea. Or we go, like this, we go, we kind of are drawn to it, or we're pushed away from it, or we consider it for a while, or we practice it and we see if it actually works, right? So I've been rereading Big Magic, because that's the book the first book in October that we're doing in this group. And again, the wanting for that she has for me, the reader, is to understand that, and I find this fascinating, right? You probably know it, but in the universal space, there's a little quantum physics moment. I'm fascinated by the quantum field these days. I've been studying how it works. I won't go into the details of that whole world, but at the quantum level, right, which is the microscopic particle level, all of everything has already been created. Like all the information in the universe is already there. This is a perspective that Elizabeth Gilbert has borrowed from and put it into the book, right? And what I love about this idea is that all those creative ideas, things that want to be made real, a coffee mug, a phone, a Post-it, all these things that live in the physical plane, right, are looking for a home. This is the most incredible concept, right? Are looking for a home, and they're looking for somebody to make them real. They're looking for somebody, some physical being, to make them real, to birth them, right? And we get this idea, whatever it is, and we either decide to make it real, right? Steve Jobs, the Post-it people, right? That the Post-it was a mistake, right? It was glue that didn't stick, but it kept re-sticking. We all know that story. Amazing, right? One of their biggest product was a failure. And we decide to make it real and go for it, or we don't. And Elizabeth Gilbert in this book reminds me vividly every time I read it, if you decide to not make it real, for whatever reason, I'd rather not. I'm too busy. I don't have time. I'm scared. It's too risky. All the reasons, right? There's a million of them. And some are valid, some are not. Some need to be worked out. Some need a coach to work through. But I'll either go for it or I won't. And if I don't go for it, it will find another home. And either in this time frame of my lifetime or another life, it will eventually want to become real. And I find that fascinating, whether you subscribe to that idea or not. But here's what I can tell you from my own life experience. I've been traveling for years, 2.7 million miles on United. God bless United, has kept me safe around the globe for the last 40, 50 years of my life. I think I took my first flight when I was 15, so I'm 65. So yeah, just about, there you go. So when I travel, there's bookstores at airports, right? Airport bookstores, famous, right? And how many books have I seen at a bookstore airport where I go, oh my gosh, they grabbed that title, or they grabbed that concept, or they made that real, because I had that idea, and right, and I didn't run with it. I didn't turn it into a book. I didn't turn it into a thing, but then somebody else did. So I do subscribe to this idea, right? But just to kind of give it a wrap for today's concept, all of that thing that wants to be made real is in service of, what do you want for people? What do you want for your clients? And I dare say, have that be the context of your life. Very different, and I'm not saying I practice this perfectly, but very different than, how do I manage my life? And let me get through the circumstances of my daily life, right? I have to slow it down and go, okay, what do I want for, if I'm upset, by the way, this is a great practice when you're upset, when you're in a reactive state. Slow it down and go, what do I want for that person? Sometimes it's harder than other times to actually want for something for somebody when you're in complete reaction to them. But I promise, it lowers the blood pressure, it lowers the anxiety, it actually puts me in a state of almost gratitude, right? So for your clients, for your world, for your people, for your family members who you might not align with, it's really useful when you don't align with somebody, right? Hang on, I'm going to cough a second. Excuse me. So, very simple idea. I invite you to put it on a Post-it, right? Put it on a Post-it. What do I want for? And you might want to fill in a blank. Who do I want it for? That's, but just to daily practice. What do I want for my world around me today? What do I want for? This is weird. This is like a weird, I just realized, even when I go to my Starbucks, there'll be moments when they're working really, really hard and they're kind of stressed, and there's like the place is packed, and like, right, they're like behind, and and then people are upset, and people are like, well, where's my latte, and I'm like, wow, everybody, I have these moments of like, okay, what I want for this room is to calm down. What I want for the employees is to know that they can still have fun while they're doing this. Like, when I'm really at my best, so don't jump on board all that collusion that's going on in the room about how everybody's behind and I'm late for work and, all that stuff, right? And our part as leaders and transformational people is to come into these situations and change that, or shift that energetic field. And I think one of the fastest way to do that is by asking, what do I want for them? And then just let yourself say it in your mind, or even say it to a person, what I want for you, or, the other way to logistically do this when I'm talking about the Starbucks moment is usually I'll come up to the counter and go, oh my gosh, you guys are doing a remarkable job in the midst of this, right? Which leads me to one, maybe a United Airlines story. So many years ago, I was flying, I don't know where I was flying to, international though. And, my flight had been canceled 4 times, whatever, it doesn't matter, the logistics. And there's a big long line waiting for the United Airlines person to help with the flight, right? And people are just out of their minds, frustrated, and I get it, right? People are going to miss family stuff. They're going to miss their corporate gig. They're going to, right? We all know this game. And most people are just, not blasting the person, but they're very direct. Like, you need to get me home and you need to figure this out. And there's a lot of that energy, and so I finally arrive at the counter, and, she's just this poor, dear, amazing woman who has been holding all that anger, like 25 people, maybe even more. I don't remember the numbers, but I just literally had this moment. I go, first of all, I just need to tell you, you're remarkable at holding that amount of animosity and frustration coming at you. All these humans, God bless us. We are upset and we're scared and we want to get home. And, I just named it. And she looked up and she practically burst into tears, right? She was like, wow, thank you for noticing, right? Now, I didn't say to her in that moment, what I want for you. I just acknowledged what was happening. I think ironically, that moment, I don't know if I don't know if that was the exact moment, but I was somehow bumped to business class on that flight. I have no idea if that was the reason, but it was a moment where I went, shift the space of this experience because I can. So there you go. That's my thought for you on a Wednesday, September 18th, all that's going on in the world. If I could just slow it down. I know I get reactive. I know I get upset. I know I get scared. I know I get worried. I know I do all the stuff. I'm a human being getting caught, right? And if I can remember at my best, when I'm having a moment with my husband, or I'm having a moment with my family, or I'm having a moment, I can just remember these 3 words. Maybe it's 4 words. What do I want for? What do I want for? It's 5 words. What do I want for my husband in this moment? What do I want for my marriage in this moment? What do I want for the employees at Starbucks in this moment? What do I want for them? And I would imagine most of us, I'm going to just declare it, all of us here who are watching this live or watching this later, there's never a want something bad for these people. That's not who we are, right? There are people who do operate from that perspective. I want them to go away. I want them to be gone. I want them to be out of my life. That's not who we be, right? You can have boundaries around this. I'm not saying you have to be in relationship with these people, but you just have a moment of, what do I want for them? And it's very calming to the heart and to the mind and the soul. And then just to bring it back around to my clients, I pretty much tell them every single time we're on a call, they're sort of in the logistics of getting their work in the world, because that's what I'm all about, is helping them get their good work in the world. And I will have to remind them of, like, this is what I want for you, is that this is easy. And this actually goes better than you can imagine. And, will you hold that perspective with me, and that kind of stuff, right? Because, dare I say, putting one's work into the world is as I've said to them many times, I've said it many times into the public space. I'm going to say it at my event again, I'm sure, which you'll hear about in a second, is, putting one's work into the world and having people want to buy it and experience it is not for the faint of heart, but it is for the full of heart, right? It takes a lot from the sort of the being side to hold, what you want for people, because that is the doorway to the bigger game or the bigger agenda of your business, is what do you want for people? So let me just go down that path for a second. So that is my business life these days. I make it my business. It's heart-based, it's passion-based, it's right, is to have people have people who are in the transformational space. And let me give that a definition. Right. For me, people who are in the transformational space are working with people in one of 4 ways. They're writing books, they're writing blog posts, they're a writer, they're a teacher, they're offering classes, Zoom, live, retreats, whatever it is. So writer, teacher, coach, right? They're actually working with people one-on-one, and they have an agenda for these people, this big agenda. And then they're a speaker, right? They love being in front of rooms. They've decided, and they don't need to love to be in front of rooms, but that is the form in which, they can have the most impact and attract their perfect right people, because you have to be in front of people. And the good news is we have the virtual way to do this right now. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. I could do this on LinkedIn. The platforms to be in front of people is endless. So yay to that. The being side is, what do you want for people? So with that said, what I want for people is to understand the game of that, the being of that, the doing of that. And that's what my event is going to be about, October 10 and 11, right? It's called Produce You, the event. And it's the word you. And we really go through in 2 days in a virtual format. We do a studio in our home, which is really fun. I got 3 cameras. I have a camera operator who switch. It's very dynamic and very interactive, all in service of having people understand what they're about, how to talk about what they're about, how to attract people into their world and have them actually hire them, whether that's one-on-one, whether that's one-on-some, whether that's they want to turn it into a book, whatever format you're wants to become. That's what this event is about. So Jocelyn's going to put the link here in both platforms, and there's a link to join. We've about as of this morning, we have 130 people. So a couple people just registered this morning, and the details are on the website, produceyouevent.com. I'm not going to go through the details of the time and you register, and we'll send you emails with all the details. All the tech is going to be handled. You can let all that go. Well, one of the things we do our best to try to make it is easy, right? So October 10 and 11. I hope by now, if you're in my world and you follow me, for me and for my clients, I hope, I'm always scared to say this word because people like, does he really mean it or whatever? But this is, soul-based work. This is the calling. What's your calling? And, how do you make the calling of the work you want to do in the world more real, more alive, more dynamic, more connected to people, so more people experience your calling? Because if you're called to do it, then our job is to actually make sure that we send out a good signal. I'm going to use metaphysics here for a second. You send out a good signal or a signal into the world to then have people called to your work, right? Sort of like the lighthouse metaphor, right? Like, you need to shine brightly into the space, and then, right. Because one of my core philosophies is when more people experience the more of you, I'm going to say that again. I know it's grammatically incorrect, but I do mean it. The more people who experience the more of you, you will then have a successful quote unquote business over time, right? Over time. And that's the conversation we're going to have. I'm going to give you the being and the doing, and we're going to work on your presence. We're going to work on your power. We're going to work on your product. We're going to work on your messaging a bit. Although, let me just do one thing about messaging. Here's the thing about messaging. When you're committed to something, the messaging is easy, right? We all get all wordsmithy and it has to be the right message. And you just no, when you're committed to something, it's not hard. You just stand in front of people and you go, this is what I believe. This is what matters to me. This is what I think is needed. This is what I'm all about. This is why I do this work. And it's not complicated. And you don't have to worry about memorizing your, what's my perfect sentence. I'm not that guy. If you want the perfect 1-minute elevator speech, I'm not that guy. I believe you can come up with a 1-minute moment, right? Facebook Live or whatever. I believe you can come up with that, but it's an organic, and it comes through you rather than it's memorized from you. So those are some philosophical ideas we're going to work on together at this event. So I'll end with where I began. I know it's almost the top of the hour. Thanks for hanging here this long. If this served you, yay. Everybody just take a big deep breath. When the going gets tough, or you start to get that, that state starts to go up into a drop it down, feel your feet on the ground. Mother Earth has got us, or the earth has got us. And remember, the doorway to this next level of your own consciousness, your own work in the world, whatever it is to be in this question over and over and over again. What do you want for? Because what I love about that question is there's no end in sight. There's no done. And you all know this already, but there's no arrival in life. Life is a constant dance of creativity and reactivity. And what I want for, I believe, from our time here this morning, as I spoke about it, because I needed it myself this morning, as I needed it for my clients, I needed it for myself, I needed it for the world. As I was with some of the news, I went, okay, what do I want for? What do I want for? And to step into that question and let myself answer it. If I turn it into a spiritual prayer, if I turn it into a blog post, or if I turn it into a live right now, this message wanted to come through me this morning, and I decided to run with it, which I usually do, by the way, every Wednesday at this time. There's I'm committed to the time, and then what wants to speak through me today. So I hope that's been useful for you. What I want for you, if you're watching right now or you're watching later, is that you have a sense of purpose. You have a sense of fulfillment. I know we've heard these words a lot, but that you have an understanding that you are a creative mastermind, that this mind and this heart and this gut, these three brains, all have the ability to generate and create beyond your wildest imaginations, and to lower the anxiety and the fear of, is it going to work? And, does it matter? And decide it matters, because whatever wants to come through you matters, because it chose to come through you. Thank you, Elizabeth Gilbert. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. The link is in the chat. If you have questions about it, you're welcome to email me. Jocelyn, would you actually just throw my email address in there? Just do rick@itsallmadeup.com. More than happy to have a phone call with some of you to find out if this is right for you. When am I going to get, all the questions you might have. Feel free to, there's my email address. So thanks, Jocelyn, so much. rick@itsallmadeup.com. I check those emails about 6 times a day. And so sending you all peace, ease, love, health, and wealth to you, your families, your loved ones, your partners, your states, your cities, your country, and ultimately to our world. So thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Give me a moment while I have to stop the flow here. So I got to go over to Instagram. So on Facebook, you're going to see me kind of be doing some work. So hang on here.